So since this is a Godzilla themed episode / monkey guy, I'd figured we warm up with some jokes that I have. So these are Godzilla related jokes. Why doesn't Godzilla use social media? Because he always breaks the internet.
All right, that one was bad. Next.
Why did Godzilla become a gardener? Because he has a knack for smashing pumpkins.
I don't get that one.
No, okay. So here's the one I didn't fucking get when I looked it up. What is Godzilla's favorite sport? Squash. It's like very niche. That's not good.
That one's a good one.
It's a very niche sport. No.
Well, but he squashes people. So, I mean, that one, I get that one.
Why does Godzilla stay in shape? He goes on city walks every day.
Okay. Like Junaid.
What did Godzilla say to Kong at the party?
Fuck you.
You are the life of the party, and I am the party crasher.
Dude, who wrote these?
These jokes are as good as Roland Emmerich's Godzilla. Here's the title. So this is a double featured video review thingy that we're doing. We are going to be both reviewing and talking about Godzilla -1 and Godzilla X Kong. Does Godzilla X Kong have an undertitle?
The New Empire.
I'm just titling it Godzilla X Kong. That's too long.
But it's a new empire.
Maybe if they titled it Godzilla X Kong, people would be confused with them just recreating Godzilla versus Kong or Godzilla v Kong.
Well, there's an X now implying multiplication. Like they're together.
Well, not really. Fucking Godzilla frame 1 fucking lifts him up and slams him in the fucking ground.
He suplexes him in the movie. Godzilla's pulling some WWE shit out of his ass.
Lizard fucking wrestling genetics does that come from?
Nuclear waste for breakfast and showing up at another kaiju's house saying, "What's up, motherfucker?" Murdering it and then taking its energy source.
He leveled Brazil. Which I mean, like,
he went to Brazil. It's like they always say, come to Brazil.
You could say Brazil's already leveled. What got you into Godzilla? Were you always young, just a little kid, stomping on the playground?
Oh, we're doing origin stories?
If you want, I don't know.
I mean, really, I was a kid and the American Godzilla Hollywood movie was around, and I watched that, and I was like, that was cool. Mm-hmm. I like Godzilla.
The 98 one?
Yeah.
That's a lot of fish.
I was like, I love Godzilla. Godzilla's jumping around, laying eggs. I liked it as a kid. As a kid, you don't care. I like Godzilla. I like it.
I love how the director was so petty that I don't know if you know the two critics, but Siskel and Ebert.
I saw that on Twitter today.
Yeah, they were two critics that really hated his movies, Roland Emmerich's movies.
But then the story has to juggle all of those goofy characters, and the big finale is just plain underwhelming. I think the script of Independence Day needed another run through the typewriter to make this film truly satisfying as a whole. A mixed review, but thumbs down for me.
Same kind of thumbs down for me, too, because there were a couple of shots at the beginning of the film that were kind of awe-inspiring.
Right.
And then it just turns into, frankly, an old-fashioned 1950s style flying saucers from outer space movie. And the saucers essentially aren't very exciting.
So he put them in the movie. One of them is a mayor and then the mayor's assistant. But, like, they're just grumpy and angry, and they don't get stomped on by Godzilla, which would have made it entertaining. Like, if you're going to have your two worst enemies in a movie, why the fuck don't you have Godzilla just kill them, you know?
Yeah,
they even pointed that out in their own review.
I remember seeing that on Twitter. They were like, yeah, if you were going to go that far, why not at least kill us in the movie? At least that'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
What did you think about Mayor Ebert and his sidekick, Gene?
I thought that seemed petty.
Yeah, I did too.
Now, you shouldn't be thinking about that during a picture.
Yeah, the only good thing about Mayor Ebert and his sidekick was that at least Godzilla didn't step on us.
Well, but Roger, I fully expected that to happen. And I think the audience is waiting for that to happen.
Yeah, maybe they should have included that.
I didn't really have any Godzilla exposure beyond that because I was a kid and my parents weren't Japanese movie fans, so they didn't just have a bunch of Godzilla lying around. If I was at like a friend's house or something and I saw they had Godzilla movies, I'd be like, ooh, I want to watch that. I want to see more Godzilla. I don't know anything about Godzilla. But then finally, America came back, made another Godzilla movie. That shit was the shit. If you were a kid at that age, I was what, 13, 14?
I was in middle school when it came out, and I remember seeing that first trailer where Bryan Cranston's just like screaming.
And it is going to send us back to the Stone Age.
Like Walter White. Just like, Jesse, we have to. There's a big fucking lizard in Albuquerque, Jesse. He's gonna kill us all, and I have the right to know, or whatever.
And I have a right to know.
The tonal shift of the MonsterVerse is fucking nuts. Like
It's crazy.
You see that first trailer, and it's very dark and militarized. The U.S. Air Force is jumping in on this destroyed city with their fucking red air smoke.
That shit's so cool.
Down. Yeah, that no. That
And then
was
Godzilla's
cool.
in the clouds.
Yeah, he's like slowly peeking in. You don't see Godzilla in the movie until like the third act, which I know was a big point of complaining.
I mean, you
as well
see him
as-
throughout the movie. You just don't see
but
a lot
he's
of
like,
him.
He's like about ready to fight, and then cut to news scene.
For a lot of it, it's just like news footage.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to see him.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, man, that they're teasing you, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. I didn't see King of the Monsters. It would look too blue and too
I
grainy.
love King of the Monsters.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
know.
favorite MonsterVerse movie.
Yeah.
You know, the escalation from it to where we are now with Godzilla X Kong, honestly, isn't even new for a Godzilla franchise.
No,
like the
Godzilla's-
original
Godzilla's
Godzilla.
silly.
Yeah, like the original Godzilla movie, you know, from the 50s, is a drama, is pretty serious. It's more of a romance movie than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
It's very focused on the people and like their love story as Godzilla's raining fucking atomic hell on them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, after they kill Godzilla in the first movie, it's like, okay, that was it. But they ended up having a franchise, and they brought Godzilla back, and they introduced other monsters, and before you know it, there's Godzilla's protector of the Earth. Actually, he just destroys Tokyo on his off days.
Yeah.
You know, fucking drop kicking motherfuckers and
Yeah, sliding on his ass, just forward.
doing victory dances when he wins.
Oh God, you bumped the mic.
So it's not even new. It's not even a new escalation
No.
for Godzilla. If anything, the best part about the MonsterVerse is it just does what works about the Godzilla franchise. Have your serious, down-to-earth, gritty first movie about, you know, Godzilla being the destroyer of worlds. Dude, the Oppenheimer clip in the first trailer,
Yeah.
that shit had me chilled, bro.
Vishnu takes on its multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Good use of Oppie.
That was my first introduction to Oppenheimer.
I think it was for me too.
I was like, who the fuck is Death Destroyer of Worlds? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, he made the bomb.
Yeah, yeah.
It was clever. It was good marketing. So yeah, I mean, now we're at Godzilla X Kong, but it's also interesting because in Japan, they've also recently had a Godzilla reset with -1,
Yeah.
which is a spiritual remake of the first Godzilla movie. Kind of, really. Focusing on, you know, the aftermath of World War II and the effects it had on Japan. Presumably, since it was so successful and won an Oscar, first time in Godzilla history, we're probably going to get a sequel to that.
That'd be neat.
And it's going to be interesting to see if it escalates at all. Because it's a Godzilla franchise. It's probably going to escalate.
It's just gonna destroy Japan again.
Well, obviously,
blow 'em up
but
again.
they're probably going to have a different monster.
Yeah.
And if they're having another monster, is Godzilla going to be heroic or stay kind of neutral? Is Godzilla going to start drop kicking motherfuckers? Or are we not there yet? You know, that's the question for the -1 franchise is how long until it starts being into the goofy bullshit?
I would hope that they lean into the character work that they do. That's pretty great.
I do hope that they continue the characters' stories from that movie. I really liked failed kamikaze pilot Koichi.
Koichi's awesome. I have all their names written down since I can't remember these fucking names.
Well, you've only seen the movie like
These
once.
goddamn names. Yeah, I think it's Norikoi. I think that's the girl.
Let me read that.
You can't read my handwriting, dog.
Noriko.
Noriko. Okay.
Noriko.
Noriko. Okay. Noriko. that's Israel Duolingo 101.
I got you. She might, she's got that weird cancer shit on her neck. She might transform.
People are saying that's related to something like the ending of Shin Godzilla, but the movies aren't connected in any way.
Yeah, those are not connected.
No.
They're only connected in the Godzilla verse.
Yeah.
Which, how long until we get that?
What, a multiverse
Yeah.
of Godzilla?
How
Well,
long do you think? Do you think multiverse fatigue has really set in? So they're just,
I hope so.
So we have sort of had a meeting of the Godzillas before in Godzilla 2000. When Japan was like, fuck that Hollywood Godzilla movie. We fucking hate that shit. Fuck Zilla so bad. We're going to introduce him in our new movie, and we're going to have the real Godzilla whoop his ass.
I hope Oppenheimer walks through the portal. I hope it's Cillian Murphy's Oppenheimer. And he's like standing there looking with that fucking stare. That
Barbenheimer was a good double feature.
Yeah.
But Oppenheimer and Godzilla -1,
no, that's
a great double feature
soy.
right
Come
there.
on,
That's a
man.
great
That's
one
so
right there.
soy. Oh,
You just know.
soy. No,
I mean, one of the biggest criticisms of, Oppenheimer on Twitter, the Twitter criticism is it didn't show the Japanese perspective.
that would have been so tasty.
So if you just, do Godzilla -1 and Oppenheimer, you've got the aftermath of the bomb when Godzilla attacked Tokyo.
I don't think a giant lizard and then real world parallels, courtroom scenes, and
It's got real world parallels in -1.
But, like-
it's about how the Japanese
No, okay,
government at the
the
time
real
sucked and they
event.
just treated people as
I mean,
expendable
yeah.
and
No,
they didn't
that's-
help their people.
That's good to share, but
That was the whole point of the movie. Is
It was-
the people have
it's
to
a good
fight. They have
point.
to live.
you don't cross that.
That's
with
the
this-
message of -1 is to live.
Yeah, and that's good, but that I don't think you should like take such a real world movie and then like compare it to like bring it in with like this fictional action movie,
Dude, Barbenheimer was the double feature.
Yeah, but those movies.
Barbie's not real.
Yeah, but that's more of a Barbie. Those just happened to come out the same day though, which is what made it fun. Those such polar opposites. It wasn't like planned.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Barbenheimer was fun, but you can also watch Oppenheimer and Godzilla. You get the making of the bomb and then the consequence of the bomb.
And drink your soy sauce. Anyway, we're getting to soy sauce.
Eat some of that soy chicken.
Yeah.
I watched it in color and black and white.
Really?
Did you
know
catch the
went to
black and white?
No, I didn't know you went to the black and white showing. I saw an awesome clip of the turret scene where what's it? Corey? Koichi.
You can call him Corey. You can Americanize him
Corey,
if you
yeah.
need to, Israel. If
Oh,
that helps you.
He'll be called Corey in the American remake. When Corey's too scared to shoot at him with the turret. I saw that in black and white and I was like, damn, this looks better. It looks very just stylistically like very retro.
Yeah, so
obviously.
I really liked the black and white cut. I do think I prefer it in color just because.
No, me too. That's how they originally intended it.
Yeah, that was the intended way the movie was supposed to be seen. But the black and white does surprise you in some ways with how good it looks despite it not being intentionally shot that way. Because, shooting a movie in color versus in black and white, there are differences. You have to be aware of, how you frame things, how you light things. And so just doing that conversion, whatever they did, if it was just a filter or if they went in more intensely, I don't know. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Because it still looks really fucking good.
Yeah.
Which is kind of just a testament to how well the cinematography in that movie was shot. Personally, I think the CGI doesn't look better in the black and white.
I think the CGI from what I was seeing, looked fine in black and white. The only thing where
it
CGI
stuck out a little bit more.
Yeah, the CGI stuck out not so great to me in the opening scene of the movie where it's tiny Godzilla. He doesn't look great. Like, he looks very computer generated. I remember when I was sitting in the theater and I was first seeing that scene, and like everyone on Twitter was like, "It looks so real. This is better than all the MCU CGI," which I'm not.
It is, and it does look better than those. It does look
better, but I like see that I'm like, what the fuck? And then like it gets to the scene where he's sticking his head out and chasing the boat with the turret, and he looks like a fucking practical like effect, like a real, like they actually like dug up the fucking urban legend of Godzilla.
That's kind of what I like with Shin and -1. They did use a lot of CG for their Godzillas, but they kind of intentionally didn't go for hyper realistic in their style for the CGI. They went for, what if he was still a puppet?
Yeah.
In the CG. It's very noticeable in Shin that was the goal, was to preserve that puppet look.
There are some like behind the scenes footage of where they recorded some scenes of a puppet. They ended up cutting it out because apparently it just didn't mesh well with the CGI, but they just CGI'd it to look like a puppet, which is pretty cool.
In Monsterverse, they obviously want the hyper realistic looking Godzilla. They want all the tiny little scales and details to be as real and animalistic as possible.
The only non-animalistic thing I've seen of him, and I didn't even catch it until it was pointed out, where in Godzilla v Kong he like snickers and you can
that shit is so good. It's interesting because Godzilla versus Kong was like one of the second or third Godzilla movies ever, and originally King Kong was supposed to fight Frankenstein. For some reason, that was going to be the movie.
Were they going to just make a big ass Frankenstein?
I don't know, but that was the plan. But I kind of still want to see that movie. I wonder what the goal of that would be.
I think Frankenstein is like open public domain.
Frankenstein, the original Mary Shelley novel, is in the public domain. That was written in like the 1800s, I'm pretty sure. Like it's been out there for a while. Same with Dracula. The Universal movie, I think, is still owned by Universal, but it probably doesn't have very long until it becomes public domain.
Remember when they were gonna do the Dark Universe?
Supposedly they're gonna do it again.
No, man.
Supposedly they're gonna try again. That's what I've been hearing, is that we're gonna get a second attempt.
No more cinematic universes. Hey ho.
It's
these cinematic universes and multiverses have got to go.
Funny that the only two to really, really succeed have been Marvel, which built the model.
And now they're not succeeding as well.
And then Godzilla, which I guess makes some sense when you look at, how successful Godzilla is in Japan. But the fact that what characters from the Godzilla universe can you just name? There are the monsters, but like there aren't a lot of the humans that you can name. Maybe Dr. Serizawa, the creator of the Oxygen Destroyer.
Walter White in the 2014 one.
Other similar attempts at cinematic universes came with DC, which is the parallel to Marvel with all of its characters, and the Dark Universe, which had all of the fucking Universal monsters. Like, how do you fuck that up? Especially since they've done it before. Because they had Dracula and the Wolfman and Frankenstein all fight each other in the fucking 40s.
Yeah.
Like, how do you fuck that up now?
Because they went for an MCU type of, like, style in that movie.
Yeah,
where they had, like, certain characters displaying the lore of the universe, and, oh, I'm the Nick Fury type. Oh, I'm the quirky, quippy guy.
Yeah, they did.
Tom Cruise's character.
There's not a single scratch on your body.
They did have a SHIELD corollary. I don't remember what it was called, but like Dr. Jekyll was
Dr. Jekyll
in it.
Dr. Jekyll shows up in the movie, well casted by Russell Crowe.
Welcome to Prodigium.
But he like shows up and explains some things, and he has like his own like fucking department going on or whatever.
Yeah. And in Godzilla, the Godzilla Monsterverse, there's Monarch. And Monarch is funny because it's just whatever the writers need it to be to tell the story they want to tell. Like originally it was just like, you know, your FBI, CIA, just government entity, and they're like researching monsters. And then by the time you're at Godzilla versus Kong, they have flying cars, sci-fi bullshit weapons, and sonar to detect Godzilla. Going from Godzilla 2014, which was the first movie I ever bought for myself. Like when it came out on Blu-ray and DVD, I went to Target with my allowance and I bought it. First movie I ever bought for myself. I loved it that much. To King of the Monsters, which is my personal favorite in the series because it was still low-key kind of grounded. Like, it was still feasibly in our reality, you know, but with monsters. To Godzilla versus Kong, where it's like the flat earth, the
flat Earth.
Dude, how far away are we from the flat Earth being confirmed?
Okay, these movies will be like better than most movies I've seen if the Earth is flat and somehow they have a hollow.
It's
Earth.
a hollow Earth.
It's somehow hollow and flat. That'd be awesome. They already
like,
have
fuck
that,
you.
They already have that stupid conspiracy theorist character who doesn't even push good conspiracy theories.
Well, his conspiracy theories are all true.
Yeah.
Like, then it's not a conspiracy if it's true.
I wish he talked about Pizzagate in the movie. That would have been awesome. He's trying to find the bunker that they're keeping little baby Godzillas in the pizza shop.
He should talk about Groomzilla.
Yeah, no, Groomzilla and
Dude,
Epstein.
Kong would never. This girl in Japan, right? Like
14.
14. Yeah. I thought she was 16. Maybe she is 14.
Maybe she's 16.
You know, teenage girl.
A child.
You know, minor.
A child.
Minor, yeah.
Child.
You know, enters this contest to win a date with Godzilla. Just crazy. Insane that would be a thing.
Yeah.
That they would let children enter that. And then wins.
Yep.
Handpicked by Godzilla, apparently. Allegedly. And there's this video on Twitter, and I mean, it's on Twitter. It must be real.
She's really excited.
Yeah.
And the fucking
Godzilla waddles up to the house and takes her on a date, and she is a child. Godzilla went on a date with a minor.
Where were you,
and
Chris Hansen?
My goat, Kong, would never. Hashtag Groomzilla.
E.T. would... he might. He was weird touching those kids with his goddamn finger in that movie.
He was also dressing in drag.
I don't remember this, but I believe
Dude,
it.
E.T. is woke?
Yeah, woke E.T.
Dude, E.T. is woke.
Yeah,
That's
I can't.
crazy.
E.T. came out now, the fucking woke
Dude.
thumbnails. his crippled corpse in the fucking river in the middle of the movie. Arrow, woke. And the next day, he got promoted at the police academy. He became a
police commissioner for the day or something.
Police commissioner for a day. A-Cab Godzilla.
Bad string of controversy for Godzilla. It's a good thing that this new movie came out and everyone forgot about all those bad things.
Oppenheimer versus Godzilla.
Well, Oppenheimer made Godzilla.
Yeah, so you can kill him. He can write on his science board.
Oppenheimer can just do this.
You know, going back to that soy part that we were mentioning, where in the movie they have all the scientists come up with how they can kill Godzilla in the end of Godzilla -1. They just bring in Oppenheimer in the sequel, and they're like, "You created him. How did we destroy him? Because he was still alive in like the 50s or whatever."
No, I mean, yeah, he would have seen it happen.
Yeah.
On the radio.
It's just his fucking milquetoast stare at the TV, seeing this giant ass lizard, like, you know.
Well, that's why he wanted to stop creating bombs. And he didn't want to make bigger bombs either. That's why he wanted to stop at just those two, because he saw what could happen.
He saw he could make a big ass lizard.
Yeah, and he didn't want to make more big ass lizards.
Albert, do you remember when we were talking about how we could make a big ass lizard? I believe we did.
Yes, I remember that.
What topic? Oh, and the fucking Robert Downey Jr. thought they were talking about him. They're talking about a giant ass lizard instead.
And then What I've Done by Linkin Park starts playing.
and Mr. Robot heard all of that and he wrote it down and presents it in the courtroom at the end.
Forget
They're
that.
actually talking about a giant ass lizard. Actually. That's our Oppenheimer review. They should have had a fucking giant lizard.
Goated movie. I saw it twice in theaters, maybe even 3 actually. Now that I think about it,
I saw it.
Love that movie.
I saw it once in theaters, and then I saw it again when they released it in IMAX with my girlfriend. It's really awesome in IMAX.
Another interesting thing is with your typical superhero movie trope is you would have your hero fight an inverse version of themselves. You know,
still laughing about a big ass lizard of Oppenheimer. And
you got Iron Man and Ironmonger, Hulk and Abomination, etc., etc., etc. The MonsterVerse franchise held off on that for a long time. The enemy in the first Godzilla movie are the Mutos, which I mean you could argue are inverse Godzillas or whatever, but they have their own unique creature design and their own unique kind of ideas attached to them because they were actually original monsters. They weren't adapted from anything. And then they had Godzilla fight White Godzilla.
kind of.
The jury's still out on if White Godzilla is bad or not. He's got the ice powers and he supposedly...
She. I don't know. Twitter's saying she.
Okay, I'm very sorry for misgendering Shimu.
Misgendered 2 fucking lizards, man. 2 giant big ass.
So sorry for misgendering
98
Shimu.
Godzilla
I should have
and-
known. So they brought in the original creator of Godzilla when they were making the Hollywood Godzilla. And in the concept art, they had this like somewhat sexualized female version of Godzilla. They were
had
showing
tits?
like implied, yes, like lizard fucking tits and ass. Supposedly killed the original creator of Godzilla when they showed him that he was so ashamed that they did that to his creation.
He was like Miyazaki, where he's always like crying and has a cigarette.
Like freaked Japan out so much that they immediately went home and started work on it.
Yeah, started working on a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, to
Gonna get
nuke
you
us
back.
with.
Kong treats.
This show is just
Kong doesn't treat kids any better with respect, though. He fucking picks them up and then throws them at other
Dude,
fucking monkeys.
that was the only thing I knew about this movie going into it.
I knew nothing. I like went into the movie like this is gonna be a fucking movie.
Our roommate Janaid nicknamed him the light skin Kong.
God,
He said he's got the light skin stare. And I was like, okay, I kind of see that.
He's so fucking ugly, man. I hate him.
That's what he was to me. He was the light-skinned monkey. Apparently he has a name, but I didn't know anything about it other than like the promotional material was making him look like a good guy, like he was going to be Kong's friend or something. Then I was on Twitter, just scrolling, as you do. And I saw the GIF, the one GIF of the monkey getting in Kong's face and going, and then getting like cartoon knocked out. That shit was really funny. I was like,
awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch this movie just from that alone. And then I saw the other GIF going around of Kong picking up the little baby monkey and then swinging him around to fucking beat the shit out of the giant fucking gorillas. And I was like, dude, this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is the best movie I think I'm going to see this year.
I like how there was not like a real world element to it, but I liked how it was a plan. Like they were trying to jump Godzilla because like he shows up and he's like, oh,
yeah.
and like
And
then
then
Godzilla off guard. Then he bites his fucking hand. And Godzilla's like, what the fuck? And then he like flicks him or whatever. And then like the other monkeys come out from the corner and then they're like,
they're fucking shivs
just
and
like,
shit.
Fight back. Fight back.
I love the opening of this movie because it skips all the bullshit and just jumps straight into what you want to see, which is the monsters. And it's like, okay, here's Kong. He's living his life, trying to do his monkey business.
He's struggling. He can't find anyone that looks like him. He's struggling to get food.
Like, he's just a guy.
He's showering.
Like, he's just doing guy shit. Like, that's just what it's like, being a guy. That's your life. And then Godzilla's is Godzilla asleep, monster breathes, Godzilla wake up, says, what the fuck I tell you about breathing on my earth?
You picked the wrong out.
Literally kills, just no fucking around. Godzilla fucking uppercuts and then throws the crab monster and then just murders him.
Just like soaks himself in all of his blood.
Just wastes
Jesus
no
Christ.
fucking time.
Yeah.
And then goes and takes a nap in the Coliseum.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm going to go bed now.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
I saw a funny tweet that was like, American Godzilla has been just waiting and waiting and waiting for the chance to, be used as a metaphor in the way that the original iterations of Godzilla were a metaphor for, nuclear war. And the best American Hollywood studios can come up with is Godzilla is like a big cat.
Yeah.
My favorite thing in the world to talk about is my cat. And it's really funny because my cat Mischief has been a big inspiration for both Godzilla vs. Kong and this film, like for Godzilla's mannerisms. And just recently I had a discussion with Yamazaki, who directed Godzilla -1. And it turns out that his cat was his #1 inspiration for his approach to Godzilla. So I don't know what it is about these cats mind controlling their owners, but for whatever reason, Godzilla directors are taking a lot of inspiration from them.
So this is Godzilla's character arc, by the way. In the beginning of the movie, Godzilla destroys the Colosseum a little bit when he goes to sleep in it. By the end of the movie, he carefully gets in it, showing that Godzilla has, developed respect for the Colosseum.
It's just like the Batman. You barely discussed any of the awesome human characters.
They don't matter.
Okay, the human characters are great because you immediately know when you can get up and go use the restroom. That was me. I was like, okay, it looks like they're going to talk for like the next 10 minutes. I can get up and go take a piss.
So King of the Monsters is often criticized for its annoying, boring, useless human character. I only don't have that opinion because when I saw King of the Monsters, I showed up late. I realized it was out because I didn't know when it was coming out. I usually don't know when movies are coming out. You can attest to this. But I just found out it was out, and I was like, anyone want to go see Godzilla with me? And this is before you lived in Austin.
Yep.
And no one wanted to go. So I was like, well, I'm going to go see Godzilla. Fuck waiting for people. So I was like, what are the showings? And it was like 9 p.m. on like a fucking Friday or something. And the only showing was at 9 at the Galaxy Theater here in Austin. And I was like, I'm going to go. I showed up like right as Godzilla and Ghidorah were about to face off. Like Ghidorah was just starting to break out of whatever containment he was in or something. Like all the bullshit exposition, like the intro of the movie is human. It's all about the people, and it's about like the eco-terrorists like attacking Monarch and then kidnapping people and then doing all that. Fuck that. That doesn't matter. That shit is boring. No one gives a fuck about that. And the rest of the movie's good. Like once you skip the first like 30 minutes, which just don't matter, that shit's hype as fuck. And I was leaving the theater. I was like, this is like a top 5 theater experience for me. I had the time of my life watching Godzilla destroy Ghidorah.
I think my favorite theater experience was watching the Alex Jones documentary, and you were there for this.
I actually forget I was there.
Yeah,
because I was
where the crowd went wild during Alex Jones' famous speech on CNN. I'm here to tell you, and then like a slow like golf clap started, and then he went, 1776 will commence again, and then everyone went, wow.
It was like an Avengers movie.
It was like the loudest theater crowd I think I've been in.
Hitler took the guns. Stalin took the guns. Mao took the guns. Fidel Castro took the guns. Hugo Chavez took the guns. And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms.
Like even when I was at Endgame, there were like a few like.
I saw Endgame opening night, and it was pretty hype.
Yeah, nobody was hyped at my screening. It was packed, but like, it was
hype.
Also Illinois, which I don't think anyone knows where they are or what they're doing in Illinois. So
they're all drunk. The Alex Jones theater experience was crazy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't pay for my ticket.
No,
because
you
the
just
show
walked in.
was sold out.
Yeah.
Because you guys told me about it 5 minutes before you were going.
Yeah.
And you were my ride home. So I didn't have a choice. It was, I have to go to this movie that's sold out and I don't have a ticket for, or I have to Uber home or call someone else to give me a ride. And I was like, fine, fuck it. I'll go watch the Alex Jones movie. And then the entire time I'm just
there's so many seats.
For being sold out, there were a lot of open seats.
Lots of chuds, lots of.
I was sitting in the aisle so that if someone came by, I could, move. But the whole time I'm just looking around like, is someone going to come and take my seat? I don't remember what it's about. I remember it ends at like January 6th.
But the Trump's not going to come when we've taken this over. We're not Antifa. We're not BLM. You're amazing. I love you. Let's march around to the other side. Let's not fight the police and give the system up.
With Alex Jones being like, no,
Don't go in.
don't go in there. No, stop.
We're not like Antifa. Know that we showed up.
He now owes the families of Sandy Hook
Like $1 billion.
the amount of money that this movie will make one day. So
Better-
that
better
ties that tangent
Better
together.
get directing the MonsterVerse movies, Alex. Do you like conspiracies? You can keep on putting them in. Maybe, I don't know, Godzilla goes and destroys Epstein's Island. He was nuclear tested on Epstein's Island way back when. There you see like that shot in the MonsterVerse movie where he's near that island and he pops up. And what if that's Epstein's Island? I don't know.
All right.
Little St. James.
You're on some shit tonight.
I love how
I wanted to riff with that, but
we're 2 episodes in and we're getting blacklisted.
I mean, that was inevitable
It's
with
like
you.
40 something minutes in. Maybe you two won't pick up.
I liked Kong versus Godzilla not as much as I liked King of the Monsters. Godzilla x Kong more than I like Kong versus Zilla, because I thought Godzilla versus Kong was fine, but it wasn't doing enough. Like it was going crazy, going stupid, shooting the beam to the center of the earth big enough that Kong could fit through. Insane and fucking sane. One of the greatest moments in all of cinema. Godzilla suplexing Kong through a pyramid tops that. Just insane fucking bullshit. And I like that the way their fight starts in this new movie is they're like hundreds of miles away from each other. And Kong is at the pyramids just fucking screaming his head off.
And Godzilla's like, huh?
Godzilla says, the fuck? I heard you talking shit. And then dives into the ocean and swims there in a matter of minutes, hundreds of miles in just a few minutes, just to beat the shit out of Kong. When I watched King of the Monsters, something I was like, oh my God, they figured out how to get the monsters to emote. Like in King of the Monsters, and especially in each subsequent film, they've improved on it. You don't need like dialogue explaining what's the monsters are thinking. Like, not really. Because if you just watch them, you can tell if they're pissed off, if they're upset, you know, who are they trying to fight? Who are they trying to save? You can kind of just get what their motivations are just by watching, especially when Godzilla smiles during Godzilla versus Kong. But in this one, with Kong just being a guy, like just a dude, I love the scene where he's trying to recruit Godzilla to go into Hollow Earth with him. And Godzilla shows up after Kong provokes him, but then Kong's trying to de-escalate, like, no, it's not me. No. No, we gotta go in the portal. And then Godzilla's having none of that shit because he doesn't give a fuck.
He's got lizard brain. Kind of with what you were saying with the goofy style that these movies have, like atoning to like the old 80s and 90s. Adam Wingard was the director of this one and Godzilla v Kong. He's really great at kind of like toning kind of old retro vibes. First, he directed this movie called You're Next, which wasn't too great. All these people are in one house and there's a mystery mass killer. And then he directed a movie we both really like, The Guest.
That shit's good as
fuck.
fuck.
Which has the most 80s retro goofy vibe of all of it. He first directed these smaller movies. Now he's directing these big blockbusters. And like his personality doesn't shine through as much. And I wish he would kind of go back to making those. For what personality he does show with the kind of like the synthy music in this, very goofy attitudes that the monsters will have, it works pretty well for his style.
I love watching these movies, and I think he's a good director, and he really did come into his own with X Kong instead of V Kong. A little bit weaker, especially from King of the Monsters. I thought it was kind of a downgrade because it was just kind of by the books, by the numbers. What do you do when you do a crossover? You have them fight and then you have them team up. This did that again.
I like how they still stayed enemies because it would have been lazy for them to just be like, we're cool.
I don't think they're ever gonna get along. Godzilla fucking hates Kong.
He did lie a little bit. He was like, yeah, it's like a buddy cop movie. It's like, no.
I mean,
like there's no scene where they're like, we really need to work together. They kind of like are distant, but then they're like, okay. They are in the same area, and then they realize that, oh, we have to accomplish the same thing, but there's no like communication to where they're like,
I mean, Mothra does that.
right.
Because even when they go down to Hollow Earth, they're still fucking with each other. until Mothra shows up, and then Godzilla says, "Yes, dear."
But usually in these buddy cop movies, it's like they both like are, we gotta really work together.
Yeah, which I think that was kind of the vibe that they had when Kong was trying to de-escalate and recruit Godzilla. Godzilla's just an asshole. That's just kind of the roadblock with that archetype. Is he's not even the grizzled old cop asshole. He's just, I'm gonna fucking kill you, asshole.
I would have loved if they were just walking around the Hollow Earth together, and like they're both like, I don't know, Godzilla's like kind of grunting, he's vocally like just not getting along. And he's like, "Arr," and then like Kong is like, I don't know, like doing his like his fucking gorilla grunting. Like,
I think they could have leaned into that more.
They could do that because they want to do a sequel,
but then the movie would have been longer.
If they could have just rewrote all the human scenes and then or just cut out most of the human scenes and then put that shit in.
-1, phenomenal. I love the focus on the trauma of being a kamikaze pilot.
Yeah, I was surprised with how sympathetic and how I bought into the sympathies of it. Not that I'm like a patriot, but a lot of people, not to get political, but like a lot of people really make Japan out to be, not a lot, but there are people on the internet who make Japan out to be this very innocent portion of World War II history, but they were some bad boys.
They were not better than the Nazis.
The rape of Nanking was pretty awful. And granted, civilians don't deserve a fucking bomb blowing them to hell.
The conversation about the kamikaze pilots doesn't have to delineate into the conversation about the nuclear bomb.
But when you think of kamikaze pilot, you think of Pearl Harbor and like just like awful,
because that's
atrocities.
How Japan treated its people in that war. The Japanese government treated its people as expendable, and I like that the movie addressed that, commented on that, and directly was like, hey, the Japanese people are not the Japanese government. The government treated us as expendable. We have to stand up for ourselves here.
And I do like
we have to fight Godzilla because they won't help us.
I do like that scene near the third act where they're all together in that room and the science guy is like, we're gonna like try to live and not like try to kill ourselves in the process of this,
I really, really wanted the plot twist to be the plot twist that he does get the ejection seat installed into the car in the plane. I really wanted that to be true, but the movie convinced me that he was going to kill himself all the way up until the moment where he finally crashed into Godzilla, and I was like, damn. And then the flashback plays, and I'm like, oh, okay, yes, we're so bad.
It holds on it for a while. Like, it doesn't immediately,
because it lets it set in that he just killed himself.
Yeah, and you're like, fuck, Godzilla's head is gone. Fuck yeah.
That shit was cool as fuck.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the few movies where I've seen where I've hated Godzilla. Because in Shin Godzilla, I mean, he's not a good guy, but you feel bad for him, or he's just like this fucking sea creature, just in pain, like walking around.
They make the like pain and suffering of being Godzilla very apparent in that movie. It's always fresh seeing Godzilla return to being the villain of the story and being something to be scared of.
I do like how Godzilla in that movie as well is he is the bad guy, but he's not just the monster that's bad and fuck shit up. He's
a force of nature.
He is.
He's a tornado and a hurricane.
He is.
A typhoon.
You spend time on a lot of those scenes where you just see him stomping around the city. You see that girl get picked up on the bus, and like you kind of get to know her, and she's like really spunky and goofy, and she's finally getting the big city job, and you're like, fuck yeah, they're finally not going to be able to live in that little space that gets flooded all the goddamn time with that little baby. And Godzilla picks up that goddamn train. You're like, no.
I love it.
And
I
then
love that
she
movie.
ends up kind of getting killed by Godzilla, and you see Corey just like scream in agonizing pain, and you're like, damn, like I'm with you, Corey. Fuck this big ass lizard, dog.
I like that you stuck to Corey. Mm-hmm. I knew that she didn't die. Like in the bottom of my heart, I knew she didn't die. I was just like, no, there's just no way that they did that.
She did survive.
No, I knew it. I knew she was gonna live. I believed it. I saw into the heart of the cards.
It doesn't ruin the ending for me because
it's good. He got his happy ending.
It does go in the theme of like loss and moving through that loss.
But she's clearly, a affected by what happened. She's not scotch-free. She's most likely blind in one eye. She's got the bandage over it.
She's got that black thing growing out of her like we talked about.
I didn't think Koichi would. I wanted him to. I didn't think he would. I'm happy he did. I'm happy they got to be a happy family at the end, but I was expecting the movie to be the reveal that the kid is not an orphan, because I did not expect the movie to leave the little girl as an orphan.
He left that little girl just as much as Madam Web did. Leave those fucking girls as well.
That's Kino. Kino is abandoning children.
Leaving children.
At every chance you get.
Walter White did it. E.T. did it. He leaves them at the end of the movie. I love you, man.
Really want to kill that with hammers. No, I think Godzilla's in a good place. I like that we have two separate but equal Godzilla franchises. If only we could get that with Spider-Man.
Yep.
We're about to have it with Batman.
We are. We're about to have DCU Batman and then Pattinson Batman just chilling.
But we're about to have two Batmen. We have two Godzillas. When are we getting two Spider-Men?
Sony doesn't like making money.
They fucking hate it, apparently.
They love losing it.
Whenever we do have the two Batmen, and the fact that two Godzillas are successful, I feel like that's the most obvious fucking thing to do, is just do that. It's just so stupid to me to not have Venom 3 be Venom versus the Amazing Spider-Man.
I mean,
you'd print money.
I feel bad for Tom Hardy because in a lot of interviews, like, oh, I want to fight Spider-Man.
Venom and Spider-Man posts.
You see what that is? That is like little Spidey legs hanging outside of the mouth of Venom, doesn't it?
Of course he does. Yeah. Who doesn't?
He's not gonna. He got.
I fucking hate Spider-Man. I can't stand him.
I can't stand Spider-Man. I can't stand him. I hate him.
Honestly, we should just do Venom versus Godzilla.
Yeah, fuck
Just
it.
let that be the next.
Yeah.
Venom v Kong v Godzilla.
Do you think E.T.'s seen the symbiote around?
Apparently E.T. is in Star Wars.
Yeah, he's on the council. Fucking Jar Jar Binks on the fucking council. We built the Death Star. And then fucking E.T.'s jumping around.
So
I wonder what they had to say.
In Star Wars, like canon, Jar Jar is the reason
Yeah.
that Palpatine got absolute power. I'm happy we have more Godzilla. -1 was awesome. Godzilla X Kong, fucking goated. Godzilla v Kong, it was all right. King of the Monsters, one of the best movies I've ever seen. If you don't like it, just skip the first 30 minutes. Skip to when they start fighting. The movie's awesome after that. Fuck the rest of the movie, right?
Godzilla X Kong was good.
We should talk about Scar King.
I don't
Dude,
know.
we didn't talk
He
about
looked
Scar
like,
King.
He looked like Joss Whedon.
He looked like our friend Caleb.
He did. No, he looked like Billy King. And then, the little one was like the little monkey looked like Kobe a little bit.
I watched it with Liz, right? When they do the Scar King reveal and he stands up out of the chair and he like does his pose, I was like, that's Caleb.
It's Caleb.
He stands like that.
Yeah, he's got like the little slunge. We love you, Caleb. Close it out there.